What's going on, everybody? Happy Aloha Wednesday. Welcome to the Hawaii Fishing Gear Show. We are High Fish Gear, highfishgear.com, and our tackle shop here in Ewa Beach. If you are watching live right now, we invite you guys to ask questions in the comments, and we will do our best to respond to all the questions we see live on our multi-stream. Right now, we are live on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, just for you guys. So your questions are what make this show interesting, and big shout out to everybody. I appreciate when you guys say, hey, I enjoy your show. Keep up the good work. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Motivation is what we do need sometimes. And like I said, I want to try to motivate you guys to ask some good questions in the comments. And while we wait for the first couple questions, let's tell you about a product that we just added to the website. We were searching for a resin, kind of like a budget-friendly resin, but we found something that is not only budget-friendly, but pretty decent. We've got a 2-pack. It might not look like a lot to you guys, but you guys that do flies and stuff, this is a one-third ounce bottle. Wow, the Instagram keeps showing up. 1/3 ounce bottles, 2 of them, 2/3 total, for $12.99. There's we brought in a different assortment, and the guys that we had test them out only said they only used 2, the thin and the thick. The thin one is that nice, easy flowing resin that soaks into the monofilament or the threaded line that you're using for your flies. And the thick is that gloopy one that you can build your head on your deceivers with, so you get that nice big profile, and it cures hard. You use a UV light to cure it. You can also use it if you want to solidify your cure. You can use sunlight if you want to. A lot of guys will actually leave their lures out in the sun to get that full UV cure. $12.99. You get 2/3 of an ounce of resin, thick and thin, now available on the website, front page of the website. What else do we get restocked on today? Nothing much, huh?
Today, nothing.
Nothing. Tomorrow we get some more stuff coming in. But let's go ahead and check out some questions. If you guys, I see 15 people on YouTube and Facebook, and then also another 2 over there on TikTok. Please feel free to drop those questions in the comments right now while we're live. Let's start on the top on Instagram. What's up, Hunting Fire? Let's see. How to catch more papio and oil. I think the real trick is to check your bait. You gotta pound, bro. Pound. When people say pound, I learned where that phrase came from. Pound palu.
Yep.
And what the act of pound palu is, maybe you guys will get this. You would be fishing off the rocks. You would catch an eel, and rather than use you probably use chunks of the eel for bait. But what they would do is they would sit on a rock and take another rock and just bash that eel into the rocks. Just working while you're waiting for something to bite. Pounding the palu, pounding the eel into guts, and then they would just wash it off the rocks into the water, basically chumming the water. Busting your ass, effort, check your bait, hustle those poles, work them back and forth. I think that's a lot of people out there not really paying attention to. You cannot just go cast one time, sit, play on your phone for 45 minutes and not check your bait. When you're out there and you want to catch, bust your ass, hustle. Like every moment is a tournament. I've gone fishing with people that I respect. I've seen them just basically hustle back and forth, and practice your cast, practice your hone your craft. That's the trick to catching more fish, is to work harder. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, and maybe even discouraged a few people. It's like, I don't like bust my ass.
Yep.
You know, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's see what other questions we got. Stick bait retrieval, your category right there.
Stick baits, you're gonna have different types depending on the stick bait itself, because every stick bait has a different shape and buoyancy, and you have to do different things to different stick baits to make it work. But the pause and jerk seems to be a really good universal one.
Demonstrate visually.
So you're gonna have your rod tip up or at a 45. Give it some cranks, make sure the line's nice and tight. You're gonna stop cranking and jerk. long jerk. That usually causes the stick bait to go a little bit under subsurface and give it some action. Some stick baits, like the sinking ones, you can just put your rod tip down and crank it in as fast as you can. Some guys will do the little pop on the tip. But I say the pause and long swipe of the rod would be the most
So
common
basically,
one.
when you're reeling in your line, your lure is basically just kind of wiggling as it goes along. And then when you do the pause, it pauses. Boom.
Yep.
Fish is like, what's that? And then all of a sudden with your swoop, it's got pause, phew, jets, make some predatory response. Go after that fish. Hopefully that answers your question, Dylan. And then Ahi Boy asked a question, best Newell to grab for an IRW slider. 550 series. S550, P550. There you go. That would be my recommendation for to pair with an IRW slider. Let's see what other questions we got. Newell 550, there you go. Is size 16 BKN good for Papio Oyo? Yes. Yes. Size basically 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. That's all good Papio Oyo hooks. You should have, I'm going to say this one more time. There is no magic one size hook. You should have an assortment of different sizes of hooks based on what you're doing. If you're whipping, size 12, size 14. Well, sometimes I like size 10 too if I'm using small grubs.
Whipping I keep from 8 to 14.
Size 8 to 14. Okay. That's whipping on the BKN. For me, whipping, I got size 12, number 1. I got some size 10. 8's not so much. I use those for damashis and stuff. And then for dunking, I got pretty much one widespread but you know, of course, 14 being my favorite. I got 16, 18, 20, and then I get bigger live bait hooks. So you guys got to pay attention. It's not about one magic hook. If you only get money for buy $1.49 pack of hooks from Hawaiian Angler BKN, I mean, probably go with the 16. It's not a bad size.
I've caught a 27 on a 14 BKN, so.
Nice. All right. Let's see. Hooked on this Omilu, burning my stick bait on. Hooked this Omilu, burning my stick bait on. Okay. Are you going to have Tiburon Super Jig Master kits in stock? Sign up for notifications. We have orders in place. Hopefully we'll get a shipment very soon. What's the best rig for whipping oil? You know what? Everybody talks about the flats. Mm-hmm. The flats is probably the best spot to whip for oil.
95% of guys who are whipping for oil are doing it on the flats.
Not really one of those ones where you're going to dunk into the surf or whip into the surf.
No.
Or whip off a pier or some high rocks. The only real place you are going to whip for oil is some place where you have a shallow water where the oil is swimming for, you know, trying to get crabs and whatever the crustaceans they're targeting. But the question is best rig to whip for oil. Based on conversations with some guys that I know that work the flats, you're looking at a 7 to 8 foot 6 rod with a lure rating up to a ½ ounce. ½ ounce, maybe 3/4 max. You know, you probably want to get yourself on a ½ ounce rod with 10 to 15 pound test braid.
The Major Craft 8.6 2Ms are very popular.
There you go. Well, let's break it down. 7 foot to 8 foot 6.
Yep.
Rated up to a ½ ounce because
Yep.
you're going to be using that ½ ounce rod to be casting 1/8 or 1/4 ounce jig heads.
Quarter at the biggest.
Quarter at the biggest. You could probably get a 2,500 to 3K reel for those setups.
Yeah, some guys will use a 5,000, but a 3K with 15-pound braid or a 4/5K with 20 or 30-pound braid. It's not so much the braid you got to worry about; it's the leader.
Yeah, drop your leader down to match the rod would probably help out.
A lot
quite
of guys
bit.
are using 12-pound fluorocarbon leader with 1/8 ounce jig heads, the round head jig heads, and 2-inch curly tails.
Best color poppers for Ulua. If you had to only choose 2, what would be the 2 colors?
Black and white.
Black and white. There you go. I would definitely go with a black. The other one I would probably choose would probably be like a sardine, a blue silver combo or something like that. All right, let's see what other questions we got. how to catch tohe and puhi. I tell you right now.
Oh, you have any problems catching tohe and pui?
Everybody has a problem with catching too much. I will now share the secret that we stumbled on one afternoon bait casting in Ewa Beach. My brother who lives in Waipahu stopped by Don Quixote to grab what he hoped they would have aku belly, but they didn't have, and the guy said, "Hey, we got salmon belly." So he snagged it, and that night we caught tohe, we caught pushead, but we also caught to'ao that night. And we're a place where, of course, you always catch choke eels in Ewa Beach, but it was consistent. It was like magic. And my thoughts on that was the bait in the water. Salmon is a very oily, fatty fish. When that fish is in the salt water and starts breaking down, basically with the current, that oil fat just starts right under the tohe's nose. That's pretty much what it was. It brought, it was the milkshake. It brought all the eels to the yard. A fatty bait, something that's not so common. You use aku belly, it doesn't have a lot of fat, or not at all. Pretty much
I catch
none.
eel for free. I just whip for Hinalea before the sun goes down and chop them into chunks.
That's it. You use Hinalea bait. Something fishy rather than taco. All right. Let's see what other question. Any update on Major Craft restock? It is on its way.
It's coming.
It's on its
We're
way,
waiting
brother.
for the call.
We don't try to tell everybody oh, it's coming exactly on this day. We usually get a phone call from the freight forwarder.
Yep.
Hey, we got a crate coming your way tomorrow. And even then, we don't even talk about it. We give everybody who took the time and the energy to sign up for notifications, we give them first crack, because they are in a list in order of how long they've been waiting for it. So sign up for notifications if you want first crack on the rods as they come in. That's what's going to happen. We'll probably give it like several hours before we even mention it on our live. What is a good bait cast reel for the price? Jigmaster 500L. Such a great 40 to 50 pound test reel for less than $100. All right. And the same parts for the reel today is compatible with the same reel they've been making for over 75 years. That says a lot about the reel. Okay, Saba fillet.
Yeah, Saba's oily.
Saba is oily. I like the Saba because of the silvery skin with the streaks. It's kind of that little contrast. It kind of feels like a little bit more bait fish. Saba fillet should work.
I used to use Saba when I used to dive. Makes really good chum.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. If frozen Ika gets thawed out and I refreeze them, still good to use again or no? Kalani? No. That's my hard answer, because the Ika that we get from the grocery store is already fresh to frozen. All right? That is going to be the best chance for you to use it as a fresh bait. Will it still work after you unthawed it, refroze it, unthawed it, it'll still work. But if you want, I've gone to like the spot where every time I've gone, eels is always there. Okay? I would paddle out in my kayak 100 yards, 150 yards, and actually maybe sometimes it was 200. And I would basically set my anchor, cast out my Ika, let it sink to the bottom, and sometimes I would be powing like 10 minutes coming in with an eel in my kayak. And through those years of doing that, I had tried all the Ika. Taco, fresh taco leg when I was bait casting, I would save pieces for going out in a kayak. They didn't always respond to that. For me, it was always a freshly off frozen Ika cut into nice strips with the skin peeled off.
I've seen my brother freeze and refreeze Ika like over 10 times.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, my brother's probably, nobody knows my brother, but he knows how the eel feeds in Ewa Beach, and he got it down.
Yeah.
My brother probably, I would put him up against any Ewa Beach fisherman catching eel.
Yeah.
Because he has it down, and he don't care to eat. He'll refreeze it 6 or 7 times, but he knows where they're feeding and when they're gonna feed.
But I noticed like difference in bites. Sometimes I'll be waiting longer for the bite when I threw out Argentine Ica or squid, that
Yep.
thick, big, fat, giant squid.
My
that
brother
you
likes
get
the small ones that come in the box.
Oh, I like that's the small ones is the one. Sea Wave, brother. Sea
Yep.
Wave was the best. Blue box, not the orange box. The blue box, if you can find them, snag 2, keep 1 in your freezer. It's good stuff. Let's see. Hurting for Sturgeon. What's up, Hurting for Sturgeon? Let's see. Any plans on selling decent brand stick baits, 60 to 80 weight wise? XN IPR, we have tried, brother. We have brought them in, and all they wound up doing was gathering dust on our shelves. You know, we gather information, we gather data from what we bring in, promote, try to sell. If it doesn't work out, you know, we give it maybe 6 months to a year. If it doesn't work out, done.
The thing with decent brand stick baits is a lot of people are hardcore. They buy them directly from these companies' websites.
Yeah.
And we don't get too much hits on the more expensive lures like Carpenters and Strategic Anglers and stuff. But there's a few local guys who are making lures that we might try and bring in some samples in the future to see.
Native Waters, if you're watching.
Native Waters, Omilu House makes
Oh,
some
yeah.
nice stuff. There's a guy on Kauai, I can't think of his Hunter.
Hunter.
We might try to reach out to these guys and bring in some samples
We
and
want
see
to
what
try
happens.
to bring in locally made stuff,
Yeah.
especially with all the tariffs. They're going to jack up prices and stuff. Let's start working on some local guys out there. Let's start making some local made stuff, and we'll help. We'll help. All you
If
gotta do is get 'em business.
if you guys make lures and you guys have a GE license,
Yeah.
message us, send us an email. We'll get back to you guys.
All right. So, aloha, brothers. Thomas at your shop set me up with a beginner whipping rig. I live by the airport and wanted to whip blank, blank, blank. Do you have any thoughts, tips for that area?
Firecracker.
Firecracker grub. There you go. There's a good. Use a firecracker grub, which is a clear with glitter. There. I think that's the best we
That
can
clear
offer you on
glittery
that
stuff
one.
works pretty well at that spot you're talking about.
Yep. So Ian says big Icas are a jam. Sometimes it works in certain areas, but the big Ica, I went straight to the Oyo house, and I would present them bait, and I was looking for something quick. I didn't want to be hanging out there all day getting sunburned. I wanted to hit the spot, catch a fish, paddle back in, put them in the freezer so I
I
could.
like the legs. I found that the head is like too thick. It doesn't have that fluid movement in the
No,
water.
it doesn't have any movement.
It's too stiff.
I had more luck on the body cut into strips
Yep.
than the legs. And I've caught on legs, I've caught on Argentine, I caught on all the different types of Ica, but I'm looking for that quick bite.
Yep.
And the quick bite was always that nice, clean, relatively thick. The too thin where it's almost translucent
Yep.
doesn't work. It's got to be a nice, maybe like 1/8 of an inch thick.
It's like a cream color versus a solid white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the real thin ones, they wind up being cream color, but that solid white is pretty much the one that works really well. And that, for some reason, it tends to be always the Sea Wave. I crack open a box, you can tell by just looking at it.
Yep.
You know, whether it's already slightly turning pink already or it's still that fresh whiteness, and that's what you look for. Hell yeah, Sea Wave is good. I have to hide that from my mom and sister beside using for bait. Is the Penn Raft 12-foot pole and 8K reel good for dunking? Absolutely. JP, if somebody told me, hey, I got a case of 20 of them, I would buy all 20 today. We have some on special order right now. Sign up for notifications on our website if that's one you're looking for you don't have already. If you have that rod, it's solid. Is it the best on the market? No. Is it the worst on the market? It's far from the worst. It's a good combo. Okay. Let's check out some other questions. I cut into strips or triangles. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. I take the body, I cut it right down the middle. I got two long triangles, and I cut it into I get 6 to 8 strips out of on full body, depending on the size, because not all Icas are exactly the same size.
I cut the thin ones to triangles so I can double them up on the hook.
I take a strip, and I put it on the hook, and I flip it around, and I put it on again. So it's like you have 2 pieces on the hook. You get kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's true the hook 2 times. I think I got to demonstrate it that way. There. It's true the top of the hook and the bottom. So I slide it up, over and down again, and this way you got it's not necessarily buried in the hook, but it's got 2 connection points, so in case the little fish is nibbling at it. Let's see, did we miss any questions that went by? I use saba fillet to catch tohei. There you go. Tohei, by the way, for me, tohei is a conger eel. It's actually not a moray. It's not the same species line as the moray eel.
It doesn't have teeth.
It doesn't have but that one is more closer to a fish than an eel, like
Yeah.
the conger eel. And the tohei has always been magic. I caught my first ulua on a small piece of tohei, dump
There-
shot.
There's a secret sauce to catching them in Eba Beach on the right conditions, on the right tide and the right moon and stuff like that. That guys who taco dive know when they want to get tohei.
Number 1, you gotta put your bebeties on backwards. You gotta wear the wrong right foot and left foot slipper. And then you gotta smoke cool milds from the white Manapua truck on Fort Weaver Road.
There's a couple spots on the Eba coastline that certain nights you know they're gonna be there, and you'll see like 3 of them in a 10-yard
Yeah.
stuff. They're just moving around.
I like certain hookups that I had were just like magic. And like I remember this one night where he caught 2 small eels on one hook. And they just like 2 baby eels, like not even like this long, little baby eels. One was a tohei and one was a pushead.
Oh sheesh!
And they were both almost the same size. Maybe one was like 1 inch longer. And I was like, oh, give them to me for bait. And I went to try to untangle them from the hook. And the tohei slithered away and I
Fell
was
off,
all
yeah.
sour. And I still managed to catch the pushead, the little baby, like not even 6 inches. Hooked it, cast it out, and caught an old eel. A good size old eel with a small baby pushead. If you guys catch the tohei, Danny says he always likes to use it fresh.
Yep.
And I think he said something about, if you guys watch the podcast, he gives a lot of his experience with using tohei, but he likes to use it fresh. He doesn't like to use it frozen and then thawed out. But frozen and thawed out does work out well with the
I
tohei.
never freeze tohei. I catch tohei. It gets. Somebody's gonna have bait if I'm not using it.
If I catch a tohei just fucking around, that's it. That night is locked in.
Oh yeah.
Like the day changes.
You're not.
We
You're
got
not
tohei.
sleeping.
Action. This is it. Tohei came in for bait. We're cutting it up into chunks. We're getting the big rods out. We're gonna let this bugger sit.
I try them
all
out
night.
on my whipping rod too. Sheesh.
It's like,
That's
hey,
good bait.
I know I said I was gonna be home at sunset. I caught a tohei. Yeah, okay, you get it. All right. I'll see you home in about 5 hours. We're gonna give him a good shot. It changes everything. All right. All right, cut into strips. I think we already answered that one. Penn Carnage 3 12-foot rod, good for ulua. The Penn Carnage 3 12-foot casting, it'll work for ulua. It will work for ulua.
The carnages are stiff. They can handle.
But he's talking about the 12-foot surf casting,
even
not the ulua.
the spinning one's pretty stiff. Try
They
throwing.
are pretty stiff.
Try throwing lures on that thing, man. I had a carnage too, and I would feel safe bringing in a 40 to 50 pound lure on.
What's
it.
the lure rating on those ones?
Cedar? I
6, huh?
no. The heavy I think is more than
8,
6.
8 and 10 kind.
That's a good 5 ounce, 6 ounce lure rod and
I think, yeah, the Penn Carnage 3 12-foot spinning and casting. A lot of guys will buy those 12-foot casting as kind of like a medium game ulua pole, put a butt cap on,
Yep.
and make it their medium game ulua pole. But the 12-foot spinning is actually, for its spinning, I don't recommend it all the time because it is a higher price point than the Battalion. So it's kind of like
Yeah, but the blanks, if you're targeting Olua, I would definitely immediately off the back, I'll say just go straight to the Carnage.
Penn Carnage 3. It is good. There you go.
Well, Eo and Papillo, Battalion is more than enough.
Yeah. What plug should I use with my 10-foot medium Battalion 2, which is rated up to 5 ounces?
I would probably go 3.5 max. I would be in the 90-gram range, because plugs, the cup face plugs will create resistance on the rod. So just because the rod can throw the weight doesn't mean it's going to be effective at working the lure. You can throw heavier stick baits because there's no resistance on it. If you're throwing plugs, you want to be at that like halfway mark, a little bit halfway of the max lure rating.
So 5 ounce, 2.5, 3 ounces max for a cup face popper, but you could bang a 4 ounce stick bait.
I would throw a 4-ounce stick bait on a 4-ounce rod.
Okay. All right. What? Okay, I think we already answered the. Okay, taking notes. I vacuum seal if get leftovers on the. Yeah, vacuum seal is always good. I worry though. Like, I try not to use the vacuum seal because we use it for like for real foods.
Yeah.
And I worry because like when you vacuum seal like Ica or taco or something,
The slime.
the juice or the slime get into that little pocket on the thing, and the last thing I want is crack it open like a week later. Blah, you know what smell I'm talking about, the one that got you banned from using all that stuff in your kitchen. How big the chunks? How big is the chunks? Hey, we got 62 viewers on
Watch your time.
oh yeah, we got to start auctions here in about 8 minutes. Okay, we got basically 86 of you guys watching right now. I want you to take a second. This is what I ask in favor for doing these videos. Number one, buy stuff on High Fish Gear. And number two, leave a like on the video. All right, leave a like right now while we're live. We can see the hearts just flowing through on Instagram. Please, if you guys do take a moment, leave a like on the video. It helps us reach more people, more better questions. Let's see, one more question. What can I do with the bottom half on a lure pole? I already made one gaff with one.
Broom.
Broomstick.
Push broom.
Push broomstick.
Net. Scoop net.
Scoop net. Can probably put like tape on it and use it as a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Gaff is the most common.
Yeah. What rod to pair with a Penn Senator 112, which is going to be the 3.0. If you have the standard, not the H, oh, there is no Y. There's only one width on the 3.0. That's a 30 to 40 pound test reel.
Prevail casting,
Well, 40 to 50
battalion
actually.
casting.
No, you can use it on a medium heavy nitro. Should work out all right. Medium heavy nitro would be pretty cool. All right, guys, we got to go. Starting auctions in about, what is that now?
6 minutes.
7 minutes. We're going to do an auction in our High Fish Gear deals page. That's it. Hello, everybody. Make sure you leave a like. And if you're watching it later and you have a question, please drop it in the comments. We answered about 5 or 6 questions last night.
Yep.
So that's it. All right, everybody. Aloha.